This is an introduction to the Robert Soulby wobble chuck. This has been designed to enable the wood turner to create simple, off-centre or eccentric projects. The wobble chuck consists of two main parts, the base section and the top section, held together by two grub screws. The base section has a dovetail of 45mm or 1 3/4 inches to fit the standard jaws of the Robert Soulby Patriot chuck. It will also fit into many of the popular brands of scroll chuck available on the market today, fitted with the appropriate jaws. The top section is fitted with a wood screw held in place by a retaining screw. This can be withdrawn and use made of the 3 holes provided to turn the top section into a small faceplate. The retaining grub screws are fitted with brass tips, and this will prevent damage to the top section. To assemble the chuck, insert the top section into the base, align the 2 grooves, this will give a true centre, and tighten the grub screws. And this will ensure that the face runs true to centre. And we will now fit the wobble chuck into a Patriot chuck fitted with standard jaws. With the wobble chuck mounted, we can now see how it works. Slackening the grub screws will enable the top to rotate. The wedge design allows the top to be placed at many different angles, allowing eccentric designs to be turned. The example in this presentation, we are going to use a 5-inch long by 2-inch diameter piece of ash. We are going to use the wood screw to hold the project, so a 1/4 inch or 6mm hole has been drilled to a depth of 1 inch in one end of the blank. Before mounting the wood, realign the centre marks and lock the top section into position. Mount the timber on the wood screw all the way down and ensure that it seats against the face. This first simple project we're going to turn can be adapted for many uses. A ring stand, a tea light holder, and many other uses. The tailstock in for additional support. Bring in the tool rest and rotate the work by hand to ensure that it clears. Select an appropriate speed and using a spindle roughing gouge through the blank. Before we start to turn, it is worth remembering that the screw penetrates the wood to a depth of 1 inch. I'm going to place a pencil mark about 1.25 inches from the end, and this will ensure that I can part the project off safely. Go to the first offset position. I'm going to slacken the grub screw, rotate the timber using the tail centre as a guide, and we're going to bring it in about 1/4 inch from the edge of the timber. Tighten the 2 grub screws and bring the tool rest in, ready for turning. For the project, we're going to use a 3/8 spindle gouge with a fingernail grind. Rotate the piece by hand to ensure it clears the tool rest. Select an appropriate speed and turn the lathe on. You can now see how the wobble chuck enables the wood to turn eccentrically. Take the first few cuts, make them light, don't try to remove too much timber at one time, and stop on a regular basis to check on progress. Start the lathe up again and continue with the cuts. Don't try and remove too much timber until we get close to the tail centre and stop. Remove the tail centre and reposition the tool rest. Turn the lathe back on. Continue with the cuts towards the end of the project. Form a small finial. Turn the lathe off. Check the finish, sand if required.